welcome back to another sewing tutorial. My name is Ann-Sophie and I'm the person behind Sewing with Solana, and today in this video I'm going to show you how to make a new version of the Lucy dress. So the Lucy dress is basically we take the sewing pattern of the Lucy blouse. Then I already filmed a tutorial a couple months ago to show you how to make a few small adjustments to the sewing pattern to turn it into a dress. And today I'm going to show you how we can make another small adjustments to get a bit of a different Lucy dress. So basically just the front is going to be different and it's going to be a bit more covered up. So here we have like the Lucy blouse, then here we have the first version of the Lucy dress, and then this is what we're doing now. And in this tutorial I already cut out my fabric, so I would suggest to watch the video of the first Lucy dress where I show you how to make the adjustments to the sewing pattern so you can also have a new sewing pattern for the dress. I already cut all my fabric out and I'm still going to show you in this video all the steps that we need to take to make this dress. I'm just maybe going to do it a little bit more quick and in less detail, because probably if you're watching this you've probably already made either the Lucy blouse or the first version of the Lucy dress. So I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I'm going to focus more on the changes that we're going to make to the front of the dress. So let's start, let's get sewing, and I'm so excited for this dress, and I also feel like it's gonna be so beautiful in this soft peach linen fabric. So let's start sewing. So usually with a Lucy blouse we sew 3 straps. Then for the normal Lucy dress, like the first tutorial I filmed, we have the 2 notches here because we're gonna attach a strap here and here. But for this version of the Lucy dress, we're only gonna attach a strap here. So you only need to make this little notch and you don't need to make this one. And this one we don't make either. So you only need to make one little notch that I have done here, so we know later on where we need to attach our strap. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do now is we're going to sew 2 straps. We only need 2 straps for this version. And I'm going to sew mine with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. And then I'm also going to prepare the back facing. So I'm going to overlock it and then I'm going to fold it up and sew the seam allowance onto here. And then I'm also going to sew in my label right here. Okay, so this is what we have now. Here we have our 2 straps and then we have the back facing, and now we can put them to the side. So here we have the back piece and we need to sew the 2 darts here now. And then here I have my 4 front pieces and we need to sew 1 dart on each of them. So in total you need to sew 6 darts now. The two darts of the back I iron so they're facing each other. And then the darts of the front I iron towards the armhole. Now we take our back piece with the right side facing us, so the darts are facing the table. Then we take our back facing, and you want to make sure that the two good sides are facing each other. And now we're going to sew along here, and then I'm going to overlock it, and then I'm going to sew the seam allowance onto the back piece. Now we take one front piece, good side facing us, that means dart is facing the table. Then we take one of our straps, and I'm going to put it right below with the bad side. So here we have the nice finish of the strap, and where it's still open, I'm going to take that and put it right below the little notch. And then I take another front piece. And now you want to make sure that the two good sides are facing each other. And then I'm going to sew along here. And when I come to my strap, I'm going to sew over it twice just to make sure that it's really sewn in properly and not coming undone again. And now we're going to do the same thing to the other two front pieces, good side facing us. Then we take the strap, and then we take the other front piece, good sides facing each other. And then I'm going to sew along here, or you can also sew this way, it doesn't matter at all. And now I'm cutting off a little bit of the seam allowance here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to sew the seam allowance on here. With this side, we're going to sew the seam allowance on this side, on this piece. And then with the other one, we have to sew it on the other side, just so it's mirrored, so they are not identical, but mirrored. And we're only going to do it for this part here, and we're going to start around here and we're going to finish around here because we can't sew all the way to the corner here. And you want to leave the first few centimeters as they are. So I'm just going to fold this open. And then while you sew, make sure that your seam allowance is pushed to this side. And then we're going to sew the seam allowance onto the fabric here. And usually with a Lucy blouse and the other version of the Lucy dress, we also do it for down here, like for this part. But this time we're not going to do that. And now I'm gonna go to the iron and I'm gonna press the seam allowance here apart. And then I'm gonna do the same with the other, like this. So now we're taking one of our front pieces here. Usually it would be like this, but we're opening it up. Good side is facing us. Then we take the other front piece and we do the same. And you want to make sure that the two good sides are facing each other. And with the top one here, I'm gonna measure 11 centimeters. And then I'm just gonna put a pin for me right here, just so I know where to stop sewing. And then it's very important. I just did it by pinning everything together, but it wasn't perfectly straight. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna line it up and I'm gonna start sewing here. And then as I sew, I'm gonna sew really slowly and then always make sure that this here and this are lining up perfectly. You wanna have it like this, and then you wanna stitch right in the middle here. And we're gonna sew 11 centimeters from here to here. I'm gonna go to my iron now and just iron this flat here. Okay, so this looks amazing now. So later on, either when you wear it, you can leave this untied or you can tie a bow here. But this is gonna be the good side, the outside. And then this side is gonna be facing your body. But here we have the front top part of the dress done. And now we need to sew the front and the back together. So I'm gonna take the back and I'm gonna have the good side facing me. And then you wanna take the front. So this here, where we can see the stitch where we have sewn the seam allowance of the neckline onto the fabric here, this is considered the bad side. This is the good side, so good sides are facing each other. And then we pull the two front pieces apart and we're gonna wrap it around the shoulder part of the back piece. And then we're gonna sew from here to here. And now we can move on to the front and the back skirt. So what we're gonna do, this here is the length and then this here is the width. So front, like top and bottom, they're completely identical, so it doesn't matter where I gather the fabric, but I'm just gonna do it up here, and I'm gonna do a long loose stitch, down front and back stitch, and then I'm gonna gather the fabric together. I'm gonna do the same to the back pattern piece of the skirt, also gather the fabric together, and then we can sew it onto the top part of the dress. And now I'm gonna sew along, now I'm gonna sew along here, and then I'm gonna overlock it. So this is what it looks like once you have attached the skirt to the front and the back. So here we have the front, and here's what it looks like from the inside. So first I have sewn it with my normal sewing machine, and then I have overlocked it. And then it's the same for the back. I have first sewn it with my normal sewing machine, and then I have overlocked it. And now it looks like this from the back. And the next step to do is to attach the sleeves. And to attach the sleeves, we have to gather the fabric again. So we're gonna do a long stitch again, along here, and then the same for the other sleeve. And then we're gonna gather the fabric together. And here where we made one notch, we're gonna sew this part onto the front. And with the 2 notches, this goes onto the back. So I always make sure that the gathers are on top of the shoulder here. And now I'm going to sew with my normal sewing machine, and then I'm going to overlock it. And then I'm going to repeat the same for the other sleeve. So here's the inside of the sleeve now, and then this is what it looks like from the outside, and I've attached both of the sleeves. There's so much fabric here right now, it's probably a bit hard to see what is what. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna overlock the end of the sleeve here. And now the next step is to close the sleeve and to also close the side of the dress, and we're gonna do that in one go. So first I have the sleeve in front of me here again with the good side facing me. Then I fold it in half, and then I make sure that the seam here lines up where we have attached the sleeve to the front and the back of the dress. And then I'm gonna pin down the sleeve, and then I'm gonna pin down the side of the dress. Sew it with my normal sewing machine, and then I'm gonna overlock it. And now I'm gonna sew from here all the way to down here. So now we are nearly finished. There's only 2 steps left to do. Number 1 is to hem the dress. And I would always recommend you, before you hem it, just put it on again to figure out how long or how short you want it to be. And then according to that, you fold it up as many centimeters as you need it to. And then the second step is to create a tunnel at the end of the sleeves where we can then pull our elastic through. I prefer using elastic that's 1 centimeter wide, but I don't have any, so this is a little bit thinner. And then just wrap it around your arm where the elastic is gonna sit. So it's gonna sit roughly like just around your elbow. And then make sure to add a few centimeters for the seam allowance, because you have to sew the 2 ends of elastic together. And also always keep in mind that there's gonna be a fabric bunched up, so don't make the elastic too tight, otherwise it's gonna feel too tight around your arm. But yeah, what we need to do now is we're gonna have the inside of the sleeve facing us, and then we're gonna fold it down. You need to make sure that you fold it enough down that there's enough space for the elastic to sit later on. And then once it's folded down, you're gonna sew in 1 full circle, but it's important that you leave a little gap of a few centimeters where you can then pull the elastic through. Then you pull the elastic through and then you sew the 2 ends together, and then you need to close the gap. And then we already finished with the dress. So I'm first gonna hem mine, and then I'm gonna do the sleeves, I think. No, I'm first gonna do the sleeves, and then I always feel like hemming the dress is just like the last little step, and then it's finished. So yeah, I'm gonna show you in 1 sleeve. You have to do it to both sleeves and then hem it. And then you always want to make sure that your elastic didn't get twisted along the way. So that's it for today's tutorial. I love how this turned out. I think I prefer wearing it open like this with the long straps just hanging down, but you could also tie it, completely up to you. I really like this version. I feel this is super nice. You can also wear a bra with it. You don't have to worry about anything of the bra showing with this version. And I love it. I'm also gonna make it next week again with long sleeves. If you want to make it with long sleeves, you just have to add, I usually add 22 centimeters length to the sleeve pattern, like just extend it to 22 centimeters. And that's it. I really hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial. I hope you like this new version of the Lucy dress. And let me know what other videos you want to see next. Send me photos and videos of you wearing your Lucy dress or making it. I love seeing that. It makes me so happy. So yeah, I hope you learned something. I hope I was able to show you something new. And I hope I see you soon again. Goodbye.